Alright guys, welcome back to Urge in the Subclass series. We are moving on to the Wizard now, and we are moving into the Arcane tradition of the School of Abjuration.
Yes.
So, if you're new to the series, or you've been around for all of them, we're just going to take a quick look at all the abilities and rate the RP value, combat value, and overall synergy, how the subclass improves based on the abilities on the base class. If you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe. It helps a ton. I'm trying to get that 1,000 subscribers. And without any further ado, we're just going to jump right into it.
Right, so with Wizard is strange because it's not based on just thematic things. Every subclass is based on a specific school of magic, hence School of Abjuration. We decided we wanted to go ahead and read each one of these descriptions to you from the PHB directly so you have an idea of what the theme of that school of magic was all about. So, the School of Abjuration emphasizes magic that blocks, banishes, or protects. Detractors of this school say that it is tradition about denial, negation, rather than positive assertion. You understand, however, that ending harmful effects, protecting the weak, and banishing evil influence is anything but a philosophical void. It is a proud and respected vocation. Called abjurers, members of this school are sought when baleful spirits require exorcism, when important locations must be guarded against magical spying, and when portals to other planes of existences must be closed. So kind of like, and we didn't realize this until we started doing some of our digging, this kind of reminds us of the oaths for the paladin.
Yeah, for
sure. So of course we'll get into it. It helps a little bit of the RP value of that school, kind of tell you what the magic and all the spells are going to be based about when you use this school of magic. And as with all of the schools of magic and the arcane traditions for the wizard, you get fill in the blank savant. So in this case, it's abjuration savant. So wizards have a spell book, and you can pretty much learn any spell if you can find it somewhere where you can copy it down into your spell book. So what the savant gives you is for that given school of magic, the gold cost and time spent to copy any abjuration spell into your spell book is cut in half. So if it takes 4 hours, math says it's 2, costs you 10 gold, becomes 5, or whatever the ratio, it just cuts the cost specifically of abjuration spells in half. That's it.
Ooh, fancy. Also at level 2, you get Arcane Ward. This is actually pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Basically, whenever you cast an abjuration spell, first level or higher, you can also create basically a barrier. And it does not count as temporary HP.
That's
it
important.
actually is separate from temporary HP. Jeremy Crawford specified in Sage Advice that it goes, if you take damage, you take all of your damage from this ward first, and then temporary HP, and then your normal hit points. So, how much HP do you get as a ward? Twice your wizard level, plus your intelligence modifier, which is your spellcasting ability. So you should have that capped out eventually.
As soon as possible.
And once you create the ward, you cannot create another one until you finish a long rest. But whenever you cast an abjuration spell, when the ward is already active, it regains hit points equal to twice the level of the spell. The level 20 wizard. And you cast a first level abjuration spell. You gain 2 times your wizard level. So your level 20 wizard, you would gain 40 hit points plus, we're assuming you would have max extra intelligence.
At least.
So another 5 there. So 45, it's not temporary HP, 45 additional hit points.
Yeah. It's a big shield.
And every time you cast a spell, it regains hit points equal to twice the spell level. So if you cast
Of the same school of magic, though.
Yeah, correct. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if you cast another spell, like counterspell, you're going to gain back 6 temporary hit points for the ward,
specific,
not necessarily temporary hit points. So it's probably not the best way to say it. So
you're healing your shield. It sounds more complicated than it really is, but it's a really cool feature either way.
Yeah, it's great.
At level 6, you get projected ward, and things from here get a lot more simple than what we'll try to explain an arcane ward. Essentially, as a reaction, if you can choose to give your arcane ward to someone else if they're within 30 feet of you, and they will absorb, just like it's there, they will then take on your arcane ward and use it as a shield for themselves. If they're reduced, if your ward's reduced to 0 on them, it then goes into their direct temporary hit points, or just like it would if it was on you.
Yeah.
But just the fact that if you're a wizard, you're fighting just like one big creature, and you're like I really don't need this ward right now. I'm gonna pitch it over to the barbarian, to the fighter, to the paladin, somebody that's in there getting beat on by this this mammoth, this some big giant creature in the middle, because I don't really need it right now. So it just gives you an option to give it to somebody else if you so choose. And then at level 10, you get improved abjuration. So when you cast an abjuration spell that requires a check, an ability check, as part of casting that spell, AE, counter spell, or dispel magic, I believe, are at least out of the PHB, I believe are the only two, which doesn't seem like much, but the further into late game you get and you're facing enemy casters, and you go to cast counter spell on something really stupid, like stupid powerful that is, every little bit can help. So normally it's, you roll your ability modifier at it, D20 plus your intelligence, we'll say, is 18, so it's +4. Well, at this point, then you get to also add your proficiency, let's just say is another +4 at that time, so it becomes a +8, essentially doubling your flat addition on your modifier. And rolling a D20 +8 to add to, a counter spell, it greatly increases your chances of countering whatever shenanigans are coming your way, for sure.
Definitely. And then lastly, at level 14, we gain spell resistance, which is very simple but very good.
Yes.
You have advantage on saving throws against spells, and you have resistance against damage of spells. Very good, very simple, very strong.
Very strong. How much else to it?
Yeah, so that being said, we'll move on to the rating portion.
Yes.
First up, we have the RP value. We decided, the same as we did with the Paladins with their oaths, that wizards should get a small bonus based on the description of their school, because it kind of gives you like a guide almost as to the kind of wizard you are. So it gives you a little bit in the book specifically for how to play the subclass and what this kind of subclass deals with. So we give small points for that, and then very situational uses for improved abjuration could be used. RP sense, and spell resistance could be RP sense depending on what kind of spells you have advantage on that are being used against you.
Any kind of like a charm or a hold spells, things
or like magical traps,
mind reading, anything like that, you would have advantage on saving throws against.
So not the most RP subclass. So we went and gave it only a 2 out of 5 because most of the abilities are combat based, as you will soon see when we move on to that.
Yeah.
But there was just a few small situational uses that warranted giving it more than a 1.
Right.
So
plus the bonus of the subclass little text there.
Right.
Because it specifies in the text that some people look down on this subclass, this arcane tradition, but of its value. It gives you that, that little bit of extra text that helps out with the RP side of things.
For sure.
On the combat side of things, it didn't take us long to give this a really, really good score. We went ahead and put it all the way up to the good old-fashioned 5, full house of flumps on the combat side of things. And of course, every ability helps in some way with combat. Wizard is, along with Sorcerer, the most glassiest of the cannons, made of glass fused with paper. Is what they're because they have no armor proficiencies unless you take a feat or dip into some other something class somewhere else for those proficiencies. You have that little bitty D6 hit dice. So anything that can help you stay alive, and it's not really costing you spell slots. Like your Arcane Ward doesn't cost you a spell slot, because if you use abjuration spells, which you should have a lot of, because it's what your subclass is built around anyway. It really rewards you for help you stay alive, and be able to give the ward to somebody else. Also super helpful if it just gives you an option to give it to somebody else. If you want to keep it for yourself, you should most times, but you can.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the explanation of the improved abjuration with counterspell, that seems like something simple, but if you're facing an enemy caster, especially if there's more than one, and or if it's like you're fighting like a demon or a devil that has an innate spell casting that have some once per day dominate person or something like that, you just be like, no. With a counter spell, like that's huge. Completely turns the tide of battle. And of course, with spell resistance, like that's silly. The fact that it's advantage on saving throws against any spell. It's not just against damage spells, against certain types of spells. It's all spell types.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
Yeah, this subclass is very good in combat, but it is definitely defensive.
Almost exclusively.
Focused, for sure. So if you're looking to pump out a bunch of damage, this isn't necessarily the subclass, but if you're looking to protect people, protect yourself,
To make sure
give
you
you more
stay alive.
survivability. That's pretty good.
Because you can't cast spells if you're dead.
Right.
That's what this class, that's what this subclass believes in.
Yep, and then lastly we have the overall class synergy. Now with the base wizard being so simple, you don't really get a whole lot of abilities.
Right.
So basically the way we're looking at here is just how spell mastery synergizes and signature spells synergize. So with spell mastery, you get to choose a first and second level spell at level 18 that you can cast at will.
Yep.
And with this subclass, it's very good to cast abjuration spells. So you would probably want to pick at least one of those to be one of your signature spells.
Like shield, for example. Great
Or
choice.
spell mastery, I mean. So yeah, basically, it's just if you have shield, you can cast it at will as a reaction.
Yep.
And as long as you take that as your spell mastery.
Right. Yeah, you'll make that choice.
So yeah, level 18, you take shield as your spell mastery. You cast it as a reaction. It also can trigger your arcane ward because it's an abjuration spell of first level or higher.
Right.
So if you're just like, you can wait to use your ward because you only use it once a day. So you wait until maybe you get hit. And when you get hit, you go reaction ward. So you have shield bonus and you activate your ward at the same time. Pretty good synergy on that. And then signature spells, you get to choose 2 third level spells for wizard. And with those, you can cast them once without taking up a spell slot.
Right.
So counter spell, because of your bonuses with improved abjuration.
Good choice.
Very, very good. So with that being said, there's synergy with improved abjuration and signature spells and spell mastery with arcane ward and things like that. Now, we went ahead and we gave this overall synergy a 4.5 out of 5 because of those 2 things, how well they synergize. And of course, the projected ward and everything will take your reaction if you move it to someone else, so you can't go wombo combo, arcane ward, and shield on yourself, and then move it to someone else because it's
One
2
reaction.
reactions. So you can do one or the other, but it does definitely have some uses and synergy with those 2 major things in the base class.
So pretty much moving forward with wizard subclass energy, it's going to be really, really hit or miss because it's if you look at the actual class block for wizard, it's literally arcane recovery, pick your subclass, and then spell mastery signature spell, and then that's it.
That pretty much sums up our thoughts for the Abjuration Wizard subclass. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications so when our new videos come out. We're going to be keeping these coming out for you guys pretty much every week, hopefully, unless something comes up.
Unless he leaves the country again.
We'll be moving through the rest of the subclasses in the PHB, and then we'll be moving on to different books and Unearthed Arcana and all that eventually as well. And then looking at starting some other miniseries as well. So stay tuned to the channel, and you'll see all these awesome things are coming up.
Yes.
And as always, guys, thanks for watching.